Welcome to the Boat Dealer Profits Podcast. I am your host, Matt Selhorst, the creator of the Splash System, founder of Boat Dealer Profits and Boat Dealer Profits Marketing Agency, where we help busy family-owned dealership owners and managers stop wasting time and money on marketing and sales tactics that just aren't working and get them the most out of their marketing and invested dollars with the right approach on the right channels like Facebook and Google and Boat Trader to reach their exact boat buyers so they can sell their inventory faster for higher prices, cutting interest and curtailment payments, skyrocketing their profits, and give them the predictability, more confidence, and more time to enjoy their business, even if they're already running a successful dealership. So today we are talking about sales training. It is one of the things that is a service that we offer to our clients, and I wanted to just talk about how to choose a sales trainer for your team, because we may not be right. There's a lot of great options out there, and you've got a lot of choices, but I believe it's something that is very important to do to get the most out of the marketing dollars that you invest, to get most out of the investment in your dealership. Having good, strong salespeople that are nose to nose, toes to toes with your prospects is one way to maximize the profitability of your dealership. And that's why we include it in our marketing programs. And that's why there's times when we even offer sales training as a separate service when the time is right. So why sales training? Why is it so important? Well, because these are the folks that are on the front lines, and they will dictate the profitability based on how they handle the leads that you generate, based on how they handle the sales conversations, based on how they handle pricing, based on if and how they ask for the sales. And I know what everybody's thinking out there is, man, sales training is great. You have a couple of weeks that you're right on top of it, and then it just falls away and all the bad habits come creaking back in. Well, I always go back to Zig Ziglar's statement years ago that he made when I think he was talking about motivation, but he says, it's like taking a bath. We need to do it daily. Now, sales training has that same type of daily ritual, consistent ritual, maybe weekly or at least monthly, but to always be in front of people. And the one and done, hey, come in for a 2-day sales training program and be done. There's a lot of power in that, but you also can't just stop there and be done and let it go. There's got to be an ongoing sales training presence, because it does wear off. It's easy to get in your bad habits, especially as you get into the busy time, as you get into, man, I'm just so slammed. That's when the bad habits come out, and that's when money is left on the table. And unfortunately, it can be a lot of money if you're not following up properly, if you're not dealing with price properly, if you're not asking for the sale or asking for the sale properly. So what I wanted to do in this podcast is maybe something a little different than what you're expecting. I wanted to give you some of the resources that I think are great. We're going to talk about generic sales trainers, some of the resources that are out there that, it may be a book, it may be a training program that you can pick up, maybe just some YouTube videos, some people that I think are real strong, some auto sales people that I've had some experience with and that have done a good job, some boat sales training people, and some industry specific resources out there. But then we're also going to talk a little bit about product training and training on technology. And, it's more in today's environment, it's more than just having good closing questions and greeting properly. Hey, we got to talk about, in sales training, we got to talk about using email and using text messages and using video. And we've got to talk about follow-up skills. And we've got to talk about all of the ways that the boat buying process from the consumer standpoint has changed. And you got to make sure that that is included, because if you have somebody that's been selling with you for 20 years and their production has just slowly tailed off, well, it's not because they forgot how to sell. It's because they don't have the tools. They don't have the skills to follow up maybe. They don't have the skills to understand that the buyer's habits and the way people buy luxury items has changed, and that needs to be incorporated in. And so we're gonna talk about all of those. So the first I wanted to talk about are just some of the solid sales trainers that I think have good rock solid content that I've participated in, that I have researched. And we're going to start with one that spoke at MDCE several years ago, Jeffery Gittomer. He has tons of videos online. He's got some good sales training books, some good sales training programs that are generic. They're not relevant to any one particular industry, but they're good. And one of the things I like about him is he's very much cognizant of the fact that the environment has changed. Sales has changed. It is no longer a salesman controls all of the information game and a prospect has to come to you. He understands that, listen, you've got to use the technology to your advantage. You have to use the buyer's current behaviors, the reality of their behaviors to your advantage. And you can't go back and say, well, this is the way we've always done it, and therefore this is how we're going to continue to do it. And especially in today's world where there is a consolidation happening in our industry, there is a lot of money coming into the marine industry right now. The manufacturer side, on the dealer side, getting the big dealership groups. And all of that means is they're going to start putting more and more money into the technology, into the training, into their follow-up systems. And if you want to stay in the game, you have got to realize that times are changing and you need to change your approach. The next one is Sandler sales training. The one thing that I like about Sandler sales training is they teach a process. I'm a big believer in having a process. There are only a handful of just natural born salespeople that you're going to be able to find that are just going to go out there and they've got it. They just have it and they can't teach anybody. You can't replicate it, but they can go out there and they've got it and they can crush it once they get a little bit of product knowledge and they understand a basic process. Most of the salespeople that you're going to have on your team don't have it. And what they're going to need to get the it type production level is they're going to need a process to go through. In my Splash system, I call it the Splash Sales Framework. But the Sandler sales training, they have people walk through a system, a step-by-step. First you do this, then you do this, and then you do this. Now, they're not cloning people. They're not saying, you have to do it exactly this way and use these exact words. They're saying, no, here's the roadmap that is going to get you to the sale the fastest. Here's some scripts or some word tracks that are going to get you there quickly that we can adjust for your industry. But essentially, when you're talking about sales training, you've got to have that sales process for 90% of your salespeople. And those that are natural born salespeople, you know what? If you start messing with it, you're going to mess with their production. And so you've got to tiptoe around that, and you've got to make sure you work with a sales trainer, work with sales material that is going to understand that, hey, if they've got it, then you've got to just give them little bits and pieces that are going to help them accelerate, but not mess up their whole system. For me, one of my all-time favorite sales trainer in the generic world is old school, and it's Tom Hopkins. In my opinion, one of the best $100 that you can invest in your library for your sales team, and even anybody that interacts with a customer, with a prospect, your service writer, your parts guy, our parts gal, is low profile selling. It's act like a lamb, sell like a lion. And I've taken a lot of that approach that Tom Hopkins taught me decades ago and have applied it to my Splash Sales Framework, because it is. I love that approach. It fits most people in the boat industry's personality of, you're not going to be a hardcore used car salesman. You're going to be friendly, and you're getting the best result you possibly can, and you really have a great relationship with your prospects, and you're likely going to be friends afterwards. But act like a lamb, sell like a lion, because there is that flip side to it. You can't just act like a lamb. It's one of the big mistakes that I made when I first got into the industry. And when you understand that you're doing a disservice to your prospects and your clients if you don't sell like a lion, and you don't ask for the sale in the right way and be just assertive is the right word, not aggressive, but assertive in the way you close, you're going to do a disservice for your prospects, because they're not going to buy the boat. They're not going to get involved in boating. They're going to buy the boat from the wrong dealer, and they're going to focus on price, and they're not going to get the training and the experience and the delivery that they deserve and ultimately they're not going to have the boating lifestyle that they should. So I really love that program. It's like 100, maybe 200 bucks. You can get it on DVD. It may even be downloadable now on Nightingale Conant. Some great sales training programs on there. And that's one that's been in my library for decades. And of course, Zig Ziglar. You can't go wrong with Zig Ziglar. Old school. You know, he's probably has programs that are over 50 years old, but there's just gold in to the top. Sell Your Way to the Top, and his just classic programs. Again, those are available on Nightingale Conant. A great opportunity just to have a library. It's that consistent, stay in front of them. You know, it's like taking a bath. You need to do it daily. Well, if you have those resources and you make it a point to require your sales team to participate and to use those and to listen to them, just have them in the delivery truck when they go make a delivery. Have them listen to those things. There's a lot of windshield time in this industry, and they're a great opportunity to just keep yourself motivated and remind yourself of those fundamentals. So next, I want to go into auto sales trainers. One of the sales trainers that I discovered and utilized was Joe Verde. Joe Verde had a good auto sales training program. It, like most auto sales training, it doesn't match up perfectly with the boat sales world because it's a necessity product to a luxury fun money product, like I call it. But his program, I felt, was about a 75% hit to the industry for boat salespeople, and it's a great opportunity to have another perspective. And you just have to get your sales team over the fact that, hey, it's auto sales, it's different. Well, 75% of it is right on the money, and there's a great program there. His programs are a little bit, I want to say they're around $1,000, and they're programs that are based on the number of salespeople, but he does have some really solid stuff that is worth checking out if you're serious about sales training and getting the most out of your team. Grant Cardone has really changed his tune from an auto sales trainer to now more of a motivational guy. If you can handle his personality, he is very direct. He is very in your face, and he is very much of a personality, kind of like Gary Vaynerchuk is in the social media marketing world. He has turned himself more into a personality and less into a sales trainer. But he still does have, with Cardone University, he still has some great sales training stuff, and you just need to make sure that it matches the personality of your dealership. But there are some great pieces that he has. I certainly don't agree with everything that these guys talk about, but overall, I think Grant Cardone is somebody that you should research and check out, and maybe even just subscribe to some of his newsletters, and when there's a good one that comes along, pass it along to your team, and kind of create a best of library of his content. Another one that is an in-your-face personality, very direct, a little bit of profanity. He is not for everybody. He is somebody that I really like. I like his approach, and I like his message. I don't particularly care for his style. I don't particularly care for the lifestyle and the language, especially with some of his older stuff as he's gotten older, and I think probably more mature. I think his content has kind of become more, his messaging and delivery has become a little bit more tame. But just understand that there is a warning with Ryan Stewman. He's called the hardcore closer. He is a convicted felon, a former drug user, but talks about strippers and smoking weed and just a lot of things that don't fit my personality and my lifestyle. But one of the things I learned as I've done sales training and tried to find mentors to guide my personal success is you have to separate the message from the messenger. And I think Ryan Stewman, the hardcore closer, is a prime example of that. That hey, if you can separate the message from the messenger, there's a lot of great content. He is another one that really understands the game has changed. That sales isn't just about asking for the sale and overcoming objections. Those are certainly part of it. But sales is also about using technology to your advantage, using the way customers and prospects want to and are communicating. He is a big advocate of using technology as far as text messaging, using email where appropriate, and understanding the strengths and weaknesses of those channels, using the phone, but understanding the phone is becoming a more and more difficult media to master because so few people are answering their phones and voicemails are getting full. It's still an integral part of success, and yet there are other methods of communication that you may want to consider. So that is again the hardcore closer. Just a warning, a warning on that. He's got a couple podcasts that you can check out. One is a motivational podcast. Another is the sales podcast called the Hardcore Closer. There are also some great podcasts like this Boat Dealer Profits podcast. If you're listening to this, there are some reasonably good auto sales podcasts and just some generic sales podcasts. You may want to tap into those and get your sales team in the habit of bringing in knowledge and keeping that sales mindset right up front. And one of the keys is just to opening your mind to some different ways, some different approaches, some different ways of saying the same exact thing. There are often times where I'll hear three people say almost the exact same thing, but the third person says it in a way that just clicks for me, and it's happened multiple times. So I'm not somebody that says, hey, we do sales training, you have to do Boat Dealer Profit sales training. I don't think that's right at all. I think we offer incredible sales training and it's industry specific, but I also believe that there's times when getting a couple of different sources come in, not too many. If you've got 10 different sources coming in, it can be overwhelming and you start getting everything kind of muddled up. But if you find three or four that you really click with, and that is where you're going to get some great results over time. Now, in the industry, in the boat sales training world, one of my favorite in the industry is Glenn Roller. I've bought all of his books and his sales training program. I have done his online training at Glenn Roller Institute. Rock solid training. His approach, I think, is right on the money, and it's very much focused on understanding what the needs and wants of the prospect are, and then utilizing that in your sales presentation. So he's got some great stuff out there that is worth checking out. Don Cooper, the sales heretic, he's presented at Marine Dealer Conference and Expo several times, and hasn't been back for a couple of years, but he has some pretty good boat sales training specific programs that are just a couple hour long videos on multiple DVDs. And I believe you can still get those through his website. And they're good, solid sales training. They are a little bit dated as far as the look and feel of them, but the content and the messaging, I think, for the most part, is on the money. There's a few things with technology and with using the way people buy boats today may be a little bit outdated. I don't believe they've been updated to kind of discuss that factor, but he does a great job of getting into the industry and understanding the mindset, getting feedback and involvement from the audience. They're a live sales training program that he recorded. And they're worth checking out and worth having in your library. You'll hear me mention that several times. A library of sales training material, and not a library that sits on the owner's bookshelf or in the back room closet and gets dust collected on it, but a library that is focused on and used and talked about and discussed and becomes part of the culture in the dealership. Another great source is the Marine Retail Association of America's, their training programs. They've got a subscription training program now, and there's some sales training programs in there that I've not viewed them myself, but knowing Liz Walls and Matt and the team over there, having spoken at MDCE and done some sales training with them at Marine Retail University over the years, I know if they're putting it out there that it is good, solid content. And I believe it may be Sam Dantzler that provides some of that. And his stuff, if you haven't heard him speak, his stuff is usually rock solid and done in a very entertaining way with his power sports and some of his boat work that he's done in the marine industry. And then your manufacturer's reps, utilize the manufacturer's reps. A lot of them have good boat show sales experience. Some of them have face-to-face, nose-to-nose, toes-to-toes sales training experience in the industry, and they can be a wealth of knowledge as well. And of course, I'm not going to go into to our program because this isn't a sales pitch, but we offer sales training specific to the boating industry, where we go into process, we go into technology, we go into tools and frameworks, and all encompassing. And we also offer sales training as an extra value for our marketing clients that utilize the Boat Dealer Profits marketing agency. They just get boat sales training included with webinars that we offer and other programs that we offer to them on an ongoing basis for them to have access in their library. And everything fits well, from the marketing to the sales training, and it all fits together there. And we also do on-site sales training and sales coaching if you have new salespeople that or even experienced salespeople that need a little bit extra one-on-one coaching time. And as a owner or general manager, you don't have time, we can step in and do that as well. The other sales training piece that I don't want to overlook is product knowledge. So when I say product knowledge, it's two things. It's knowing your product, and we've gone kind of, the pendulum have shifted back to, we kind of about 5-7 years ago, you saw dealerships scaling down the number of brands that they carried and scaling it down to just a couple. And now we're having the pendulum swing back where some dealers are carrying 4, 5, 6, 8, 9 brands within their stores. But you still have to have that level of product knowledge so that you can go in and you can present your boats with confidence. You can have conversations with your prospects with confidence. And that goes to knowing your brands, knowing the actual boats that you have in inventory sitting on the show floor, sitting at the other dealerships. If you have multiple dealerships, that needs to be there as well. And that's really a matter of commitment. Are your sales staff and are you, as the owner or manager, committed to ensuring that when there's downtime, your new sales staff, your experienced folks know the inventory like the back of their hand, and they know how to flip out the seats and how to open the compartments, and they know where the pumps are, and they know where what switches do what, and they understand the boats. But they know where things are located. They know how your boat compares to the competition. And that's the second part, is knowing the competition. And that may mean subscribing to your competitors' newsletters as far as dealerships go, getting on their mailing lists, getting their brochures at a minimum, having their brochures and reading through and kind of taking a look and understanding how you compare positively and negatively to the competition, so you know where to focus your sales presentation and where to plant what I call seeds of doubt when I'm doing sales training. Seeds of doubt in your competitive dealership, seeds of doubt in the competition's product, without just outright bashing them. I believe that is absolutely the wrong approach, but planting seeds of doubt in the right way so that you get them in their head thinking, oh, I've got to ask this question to everybody else that I speak with, knowing that when the competitor answers that question, their answer is going to be counter to what you've shared and the knowledge that you know is accurate, and help point that out to the customer without bashing the competition. That also includes product knowledge. It may include mystery shopping outside the area, or shopping boat shows outside of your area. And hey, get up in those competitor boats and understand the manufacturers that invest in their sales training for their teams and bring in competitive product, I think are absolutely on the right track. I know there's several manufacturers that I've spoken with that are doing that and have done that in the past, and it gives your sales staff, it gives your sales team a huge leg up, because now they're not just making stuff up and they're not kind of talking and not having that confidence and conviction. They can, with conviction, say, listen, I've seen this, and I can tell you that boat A, our boat, does this so much better, and here's what you need to do to prove it to yourself, because ultimately that's what matters, is that the prospect proves it to their self, and they have that knowledge and they have that confidence. So that product knowledge is a key component, and there's nothing that as a sales trainer we can do to help you. We can give you, I've got tools that I provide, especially for new salespeople, that help walk them through and kind of get them thinking about how to do a comparison, and not just go and look at the basics, but actually dig around and know what to look for in brochures, and how to do a competitive analysis. Another place where your manufacturer rep and your manufacturers can be of value. I know there are several of them that are doing comparison PowerPoints and comparison presentations that if you aren't discussing with your sales team as an owner or general manager, you're missing out on an enormous opportunity to position yourself to have more success in the industry. And then lastly, I'll close on the training part with technology. Understanding that there is more to sales training these days than just the presentation and objection handling and asking for the sale. Although asking for the sale is the #1 weakness in the face-to-face presentation that I've seen over and over in my mystery shopping. Asking for the sale, whether it be the sale being getting contact information, the sale being asking for the demo, or asking for the deposit, or just flat out asking them to buy, that piece is missed so often that there's no wonder dealership owners are saying, why aren't we selling more? Why are we missing out on opportunity? And a lot of times they go to, well, we'll get a new website, that'll fix it. We'll do a new fancy ad, that'll fix it. Or we'll drop price, we must be charging too much, that'll fix it. But the bottom line is, it's because the salesperson isn't asking for the sale, and that's something that needs to be addressed. And a lot of times a third party can address that better than the sales manager or the general manager or the owner, because of the relationship. But there's also sales training that goes to phone skills, email skills. Utilizing email in today's world is key. Understanding how to use subject lines, how to write effectively and efficiently and concisely. Texting skills. Hey, you may not like that your salesperson is using texting, but I'll tell you that the top salespeople that I work with are utilizing texting in the right way more often now than they were even 3 years ago. Texting is becoming a great tool for engagement. Now, there are some examples of boats being sold via text. And I say being sold via text, not 100%, but the final close is done via text. Re-engaging with prospects, texting is a great tool. Video skills. You may say, well, video is not a sales tool. Well, I'll tell you that in today's environment, video can be as effective, if not more effective, than the phone. When used properly, video can be used, because you can text a video, and you know it from your experience. If you have a smartphone, and if you're listening to this podcast, I virtually guarantee you do. If I send you a personal video to your cell phone number, that is going to get a response, and you're going to see it virtually almost instantly, and it's going to be powerful. And when you do it the right way, it's going to elicit a response from that person. They're not going to just ignore it. Whereas an email, they'll ignore. A phone call, they'll ignore. A voicemail, they'll ignore. But when you send video via text, that's going to get a response. But not everybody knows how to do it. And certainly even fewer know how to do it the right way. There's etiquette involved. There is video, basic video skills that are involved. There's the technology aspect of it, of how in the hell do I do it? It's really easy, but it needs to be addressed with your sales team. And it's something that can really, get you an extra couple sales a year when you're utilizing that. It can make you more efficient. It can make you, it can allow you to sell boats at higher prices by doing it the right way. And then follow-up skills. A lot of the technology goes to follow-up, using the right messaging, following up in the right way with the right media, with the right messages and the right frequency. Utilizing technology to follow up where it doesn't even feel like follow up, by having Facebook ads follow people around, and Google display ads following people around, and teaching your salespeople what they need to do to allow those things to happen, what they can do to ensure that you can utilize those marketing channels. And that's why, in my mind, the sales and marketing go together. They're no longer marketing drives people to get to the dealership and the salespeople close. Sales and marketing today is so intertwined that prospects, they don't want to come in and talk to a salesperson until they are ready. Well, the salesperson can do things to help marketing, and marketing to do things to help the salesperson sell more boats at higher margins, to sell at higher prices. But you have to have everybody on the same page. And by having a sales and marketing platform that go together and that understand each other, you're going to have much better results. And then I'm going to say it one more time, but asking for the boat sale in training, even if you just focused with that and talk to your salespeople every day about how are you going to ask for the sale? What words do you use when you're asking for the sale? How do you ask for contact information? How do you ask for a demo? How do you ask for a deposit? How do you ask them to buy the boat, depending on what your process is? That's something that needs to be just pounded on with a lot of salespeople, because they are too timid. They're not doing it the right way, or they're not doing it at all. They don't want to be too aggressive. They don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. They don't want to lose a friend. But there's some conviction there that as a sales trainer, I just did a podcast interview, the Anchors Away podcast, with Matt O'Hara. It should be downloading. It should be available soon if it's not already. But the passion that I bring to this asking for the sale conversation, you can hear it on that. I'm not going to do it now, but there's a certain passion that you need to get through to your salespeople to help get them over that. And then you also need to tailor each of these segments for your new salespeople. Like I said, I've been doing some sales training with new people that are at clients that I'm focusing one-on-one with them so they can get the results fast and get them to learn the industry and kind of shortcut the process. And so they can have a stellar year one, instead of the first year they're learning the industry, second year they're getting results. No, get results right out of the gate and get results from day one. Low performers, a lot of people that have been in the industry for a while that have the face-to-face sales skills, but they're missing the technology. They're missing the follow-up. They're missing the fact that the way people are buying has changed, and they're just trying to muscle through every sale with the telephone, and they're missing out on the efficiencies. They're missing out on the way things have changed, and those are some people that need a little different approach to their sales training. And then top producers. The top producers that are already doing extremely well, listen, they've got it dialed in. What you want to do is make your great salespeople even better. Give them some little tips and tactics and strategies that they can add on top of what they're already doing to get the right results. So you need to think about all three of those levels for your sales team, so you can help determine, okay, which of these makes sense. Maybe it's a little bit of the industry training. We definitely need an industry trainer that we can relate directly to our industry. But some of the outside of the industry trainers are going to give us that different perspective that maybe is going to help that low performer kind of get out of their rut and realize that the world is changing and they've got to change their approach. Maybe it's that the style of a Grant Cardone or a Ryan Stewman really matches with a personality type of your dealership or of a particular salesperson. Make sure that matches up as well, because that's going to help ensure that you get the best results from your boat sales training investment. So I hope that was valuable. If you're interested in the Boat Dealer Profits sales training program, shoot me an email, matt@boatdealerprofits.com. We certainly don't accept everybody on sales training. We only have a limited number of on-site events that we'll do a year. I'm just not willing to travel a whole bunch with my young family, but we do have some virtual stuff that may make sense. If it's a relationship where an on-site does make sense, I'll let you know pretty quickly. But check out some of the other resources as well, and you can check out that Anchors Away podcast. Just search for it in your podcast, search for it online, and you'll find it. And the one with me, probably about 2/3 of the way through it, I get into that asking for the sale conversation, which I think is probably one of my best the best examples of that passion and how I share it in when I'm one-on-one or face-to-face with a client doing sales training. That gives you an idea of where I come from on that topic specifically. So I appreciate you joining me. Thank you for dealing with my voice. I am almost over, I'm hoping, this cold and sinus issue. So hopefully next podcast we'll be back on track with the voice. But thank you for joining me again. Hey, if you've been listening for a while and you're getting good value, I'd really appreciate if you went out and left a 5-star review on iTunes. I know it's not the easiest thing to do, but you can go to iTunes and you can leave a review, leave a little bit of a comment. Let other people know that we've got some great numbers on the listenership, and it's growing every episode. I'm really excited at how well it's been taking off, and would love to hear your feedback now that we're up to about a year. I've never asked for reviews before, but we're at a year, and our listenership continues to grow and grow and grow. And I'd really appreciate you doing that for me, and leaving a 5-star review, leaving a little bit of comment about the value, maybe a comment about what you would like to see more of. These podcasts with just me, the guest, particular types of guests that you find interesting and valuable, and we'll try to do more of that. So thank you very much. We will see you on the next episode.